Hey everybody, so last night I saw Stuber, directed by Michael Dowse, starring Kumail Nanjiani, Dave Bautista, Maria Sorvino, Nettie Morales, Equal Weiss, Betty Giplin, Karen Gillan, and Jimmy Tataro. Stuber isn't a blockbuster comedy and is far from a perfect movie, but I found it relatively funny. Nanjiani and Bautista have some good chemistry together on screen, and he's given a lot of time to put some genuinely funny moments into this movie. That's the best part of it, in my opinion. At times, the comedy may seem childish, and the humor may seem easy to come by with, and the jokes might seem pretty blatant and something that you could easily think of for anybody who's not a professional Hollywood writer. But the movie worked. The movie is relatively short and didn't really feel like it was wasting a lot of time on things that didn't feel necessary or important to the story. The story moved at a fast pace and didn't dwindle on much. On the negative side of things, however, I found the directing to be nothing particularly great. The action shots are shot horribly, and I found myself asking, "Hey, don't you guys have a tripod? Why don't you put the camera this movie was shot on the fucking tripod that's probably standing behind you?" And that's a problem with a lot of the action scenes in this movie. They're very shaky, they're edited terribly, and you don't get a grasp of what is going on with the characters and what they're doing. I understand that for some comedy movies like this, it's easier to direct the movie that way and to shoot it that way because the director is good at directing comedies and things like that, and they're not good at directing necessarily action movies. So I understand that aspect and mentality of why you would shoot like that. But for the time being, get somebody in there and pay them that knows how to shoot an action scene if you're making an action comedy movie. It's really not that hard. I shouldn't be up close on Dave Bautista's back, not being able to tell what's going on, and the camera shaking like a baby having a seizure. There's no explanation for that, and the movie should not have been shot that way. I saw this movie with two other people, and once the movie ended, hell, even during the movie, we were all commenting on how bad we thought that direction was and how bad we thought those shots were. Every action scene's like that, and unfortunately, it really takes you out of the movie as a viewer. The editing in this movie seems to be all over the place, and there are a ton of ADR lines throughout the entire movie. I noticed it in multiple times where characters were saying something and their lips were not moving or just straight up sounded like they were not there on scene saying those lines. It was very, very strange, and I know sometimes it's hard with a Hollywood movie to get all your lines out there and to get everything you need to be said on set so the story makes sense. I understand that. But sometimes there's gotta be a way to get around that problem. There has to be. Going into Stuber, I was not expecting much. The trailer wasn't particularly funny, and the advertising was not very appealing. But I walked out of the theaters pleased. There are a lot of the problems I have with this movie, with the script and the story itself, but I would say I enjoyed myself overall. This isn't a movie that a lot of people will see, and this is not a movie that a lot of people that saw it will remember, unfortunately. Bautista and Nanjiani have some great on screen chemistry, as I said, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the Marvel Universe if they ever do cross over to the Guardians of the Galaxy with the Eternals. Because Nanjiani's been casted in the Eternals, we don't know who yet. Hell, we don't even know what's going to happen after the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Sorry, I should save that conversation for the podcast, not for my review of a movie that has nothing to do with Marvel, even though it was now owned and released by Disney. Anyways, I'll probably forget this movie by the end of the year, but for now, for the next few days, I can look back and laugh at what I thought was funny in this movie. And to me, that's all I need with a comedy. Also, I can totally see this movie being played consistently on TBS and Comedy Central a few weekends from now. Or well, not. being played continuously on a Saturday afternoon a couple years from now. This is a movie that's right up that alley that can be played a ton on cable because you don't really need to edit a lot of it. And it's going to be super easy, and you're going to get every dad and mom be like, oh, I remember this movie came out. Why don't we sit down and watch it? See what's going on with it. It's one of those movies. But I'm going to give Stuber a 6.2 out of 10.